It is a little different now, but when I was growing up, if you had to see a counselor or a psychologist or be put on medication for depression or some form of mental illness, it did not look good. In fact, people believed you had some serious issues. So let's talk about normalizing mental health issues today. A couple weeks ago, I uploaded a video called "I Almost Killed Myself 2 Years Ago," telling my story of my mental health breakdown. I'll put a card up here and you can go watch it. I think it would be worth your time. For the longest time, when I was growing up, myself and many of my peers made fun of people who had to go see a psychologist or were put on antidepressants. We called psychologists shrinks. Maybe you've used that term before. By the way, side note, a shrink comes from the word head shrinkage, which was used to describe the ancient practice of shrinking an enemy's head that you had just conquered. The term was used as a joking reference for psychologists and counselors. And it was a common term to hear in my elementary and high school years growing up, and it's still somewhat common today. But not only that, there are some terms that we use today to describe people who are struggling with mental health issues. According to Rose, Thornycroft, Pinfold, and Cossum, in their article titled 250 Labels Used to Stigmatize People with Mental Illness, in the health journal BMC Health Services Research, the top 5 most frequently used terms were disturbed, nuts, confused, psycho, and spastic. This was a survey done with 634 14-year-olds over 4 schools in the United Kingdom. They were answering this question: what sorts of words or phrases might you use to describe someone who is experiencing mental health problems? The study was done in 2007. See, this was my problem. For 37 years, I struggled with mental health, depression and discouragement. I had classmates tease me and tell me that I was using depression to get attention. And so because of all of that stigma, because of all of that teasing, I then started to pretend that I was fine. The result of that meant I wasn't able to understand the emotions that were going on inside of me. I hadn't learned to process them because I just pretended that everything was okay. I never had a good emotional IQ. I denied myself the ability to feel. Dr. Mark Brackett, in his book Permission to Feel, explains it this way: when we deny ourselves the permission to feel, a long list of unwanted outcomes ensues. We lose the ability to even identify what we're feeling. When that happens, we're unable to understand why we're experiencing an emotion or what's happening in our lives that's causing it. Because of that, we are unable to name it, so we can't express it either, in terms the people around us would understand. And when we can't recognize, understand, or put into words what we feel, it's impossible for us to do anything about it. Because I couldn't recognize or understand the feelings that I was feeling, it all bubbled up and came out as anger. I did not understand that I was depressed. I did not understand that I had a chemical imbalance in my brain. What I'm trying to say is that mental health is important. It's okay to get help to better understand your emotions. Because once we have a better understanding of emotions and we've increased our vocabulary of emotions, it's much easier to identify what we are feeling and thus be able to get help where we need it. Seeing someone who can help enlarge your emotional vocabulary and can help you process these emotions that you have just buried deep inside of you is important. Getting help when you're depressed is important. I can't stress this enough. I can't wait for the day when the stigma surrounding mental health illnesses is gone, and we can take mental illness as seriously as we do broken bones, as we do other forms of illnesses, as we do diseases, because when that day happens, we will be better for it. Get help if you need it. It's the strongest thing that you can do for yourself and those you love. See you guys next time. Now it's on. Gotta turn this in Do Not Disturb. Oh, mercy. Zen. Rose, Thornycroft, boy, this is a long list. Borns, broken borns.